South African teacher raped in Phuket, Bolt driver arrested. Thailand News, August 26, 2025. Police in Phuket arrested a 19-year-old Bolt taxi driver suspected of sexually assaulting a South African teacher. The 28-year-old teacher, employed at a private school on the island, filed a complaint on Sunday morning, August 24. The suspect was taken into custody later that evening. Identified as Chalamfetch, a native of Trang Province, he was apprehended at his rented room in Mu7, Thepkrasatri subdistrict, shortly before midnight. Investigators traced him using the victim's ride history in the Bolt app. Personal belongings of the teacher were also found in his possession. According to the complaint, the victim had been drinking with colleagues at a restaurant in Bang Tao on Saturday night. Between 1 o'clock and 1:30 a.m., she booked a Bolt taxi. After dropping off another passenger, the driver allegedly stopped in Sambunsab, Sri Suntan subdistrict, and sexually assaulted her in nearby bushes. A passerby witnessed the attack, prompting the driver to flee. Emergency services and police were called to assist the victim. Initially in shock, she asked to be escorted home, but later filed a formal complaint and underwent a medical examination at the Lang Hospital. As Tropical Storm Kajiki approaches, Thai authorities step up emergency measures. Thailand News, August 26, 2025. Northern provinces, especially Nan, are facing the risk of severe flooding as Tropical Storm Kajiki moves closer. Authorities have raised the national alert level to maximum. The storm, now downgraded from a typhoon, is currently over northern Vientiane, Laos, and is expected to weaken into a strong depression over Nan province by tonight. Kajiki is forecast to bring heavy rainfall, flash floods, and landslides to northern and northeastern Thailand. Siri Superdid, director of Rangsit University's Climate Change and Disaster Center and vice president of the National Disaster Warning Foundation, warned that Nan is the most threatened area, with a 10% chance of rainfall exceeding 500 millimeters. While river basins in Nan and Yam still have storage capacity, he stressed that severe flooding is likely. The National Disaster Warning Center has activated a crisis unit and urged provincial authorities to set up local crisis teams for monitoring, evacuation planning, and emergency response. Bangkok Governor Chadchart Sitapun announced that the capital will also feel the storm's impact until Thursday. Flood defenses, retention basins, and underground drainage tunnels have been activated. The Metropolitan Electricity Authority has been ordered to ensure rapid response to power outages. Critical sites under close watch include Vibhavati Rangsit Road, Art University, the Orange and Purple Line railway projects, and Chan Akat Youthit Road in Dan Muang. The Ministry of Finance is closely monitoring public debt levels for fiscal year 2026, which may hit the ceiling of 70% of GDP, limiting the country's economic flexibility. During the third meeting of the Public Debt Policy and Supervisory Committee for 2025, chaired by Finance Minister Pachai Chana, the committee approved the Debt Management Plan for 2026. The plan projects new borrowing at 1.2 trillion baht, debt servicing at 1.7 trillion baht, and repayments exceeding 400 billion baht. It will soon be submitted to the government for review. The key issue is the debt-to-GDP ratio, which could approach 70% due to economic slowdown and lower than expected growth. GDP growth for 2025 is forecast at just 2%, down from an earlier 3%. Growth in 2026 is also expected to remain weak. As of August 25, Thailand's public debt stood at 12 trillion baht, or 64.2% of GDP. Medium-term projections, 2026 to 2029, estimate GDP growth between 2.3% and 3.3%. 2026, expenditure 3.78 trillion baht, deficit 860 billion, 4.3% of GDP, debt 67.3% of GDP. 2027, expenditure 3.86 trillion, deficit 760 billion, 3.6% of GDP, debt 68.5%. 2028, expenditure 3.97 trillion, deficit 720 billion, 3.3% of GDP, debt 69.2%. 2029, expenditure 4.09 trillion, deficit 700 billion, 3.1% of GDP, debt 69.3%. Martin Savage, a 65-year-old retired engineer, and his Thai-British wife Sudarat, 66, invested all their savings into a dream retirement in Thailand, a 3-bedroom house in Ubon Ratchathani and a 40-apartment building in Pattaya worth a combined 1.7 million euros. At first, the plan worked. Rental income flowed steadily. But a dispute with a neighbor over a property boundary spiraled into lawsuits, mounting legal fees, and eventually prison. Sudarat, as the sole legal owner under Thai law, mortgaged property to finance the legal battle. This led to alleged fraudulent transfers. The Pattaya building was sold for a fraction of its value, and later their Ubon home and land were also taken. In 2017, the couple was arrested for breach of contract and illegal occupation of their own property. They were jailed in harsh conditions before the British Embassy intervened. After release, they found their homes emptied and sold without their knowledge. Legal attempts to recover property failed, with courts siding with new owners despite questionable documents. Now, Martin survives on a £100 monthly pension while Sudarat works as a real estate broker. They rent a small house for €289 per month. "We are ruined. We lost everything and spent a fortune on lawyers," Martin said, warning fellow expatriates of the risks. Their case highlights how quickly the dream of a tropical retirement can collapse under corruption, fraud, and weak legal protections.